Paras and Ganendra batted for a longer time and kept wickets in hand. And the last over came for 18 runs in like for us to win. And Saraj was on the strike. We did all these match scenarios, but we have done at practices we have done well. So we had the hope, but it was a big ask for 18 runs in the last over, especially against a experienced side. And Saraj just scored 3 sixes in first 3 balls against Kenya's best bowler.
In the last episode of Cow Corner, we had a chat with Pubudu Dasanaike, the cricket player for Sri Lanka and Canada. I've already said that no cricketer has impressed me as much as Pubudu. Pubudu as a player was not a star, but Pubudu as a coach became a mega star in a cricket-hungry country called Nepal. Today, in the second part of Chat with Pubudu Dasanaike, we talk about his journey as a coach.
So now we'll get to the second part of your career, which is as a coach. During your playing days, did you think that you would be a coach someday?
I never planned for anything. I mean, I did a bit of coaching in Sri Lanka even before I come to Canada. But in my playing days, even at the end of my playing days, I never thought coaching as a career at that time. But it just happened to me when Canada offered me the coaching job.
2007, you become the permanent coach of Canada, and 2011, you take them to World Cup. It would be foolish of me to think that those were very smooth. How difficult was it?
It was a very difficult time for me because one thing that I bought it from Sri Lanka and the cricket that I played, I never want to be finish second for anything. When I touch something, I really want to win. So when I took the Canadian team in 2007, so that just after the 2007 World Cup, 70% of the team actually retired after the World Cup. So there was the bit of an older team that went to 2007 World Cup, and after the World Cup, associate country, there's nothing much to go on, right? So they actually retired, like about 70% of the team retired. So I had to rebuild the whole thing from the scratch. So the 2009 was the World Cup qualifier scheduled in South Africa. So I did a lot of experiments in 2007 to 2009 because they're all new players coming in and not sure how they're going to perform at the highest level. So did a lot of experiments and then we were able to reach to the 2009 qualifier and basically we finished second. We were runner-up in that tournament, just lost to Ireland in the finals. Building up that team was not easy at all. Like I said, we built up from the scratch, and Canada is a place always there's a lot of different ideas and most of these players are playing learn the game and playing in different backgrounds. So bringing them into one setup was not that easy. But one thing that I have to mention here was that the administration, the president at that time of the Cricket Canada, and that time cricket's CEO of the association really backed me up to do things. So they believe me that whenever I said that I want to do this way, they said, okay, just go ahead and do it. I can remember in 2008, everybody was predicting that Canada never going to qualify and where we are going to lose ODI status from there. So the president came to me and said, you do whatever you want to, and I'm going to, to support you, but you have to somehow, we have to somehow qualify to the World Cup and maintain our ODI status. So that was very encouraging, and then I put up a good plan, and we came through that. Yeah, sometimes those things are very important. When you want to cross a hurdle, you cannot do it alone. When the administration is backing you up, I think that makes a huge difference.
Not only did you qualify for a World Cup, you almost defeated England at 2011 World Cup.
Yeah, England was actually the warm-up game. So we just lost by 3 runs, and we could have won that game. But the other big game was against Pakistan in the tournament. Pakistan, we kept them for 180. And one time we were 110 for 3. We were chasing down, and there was a great opportunity for us to close that game. But I think the experience wasn't there. We couldn't get the score. It was the great setup in the World Cup. When I took the team in 2007, the average age was 34 in the Canadian team. So when we went to World Cup 2011, average age was 24. So all the youngsters, like current players like Nitesh Kumar too, like there's a bunch of young guys. We got him at 18, 19-year-olds and went to the World Cup. And they played very well against the top players. The World Cups are not like, for associate cricket to go and win World Cups. That is far away. But we want to show the world that how talented we are, and and the strength and the future of associate country. So that was the plan, and to take in those youngsters. And I think that was. I'm happy, and I think that was a successful World Cup for Canada.
You've been a great advocate for associate countries at the world level in cricket. That also brings us to your stint with Nepal. It's interesting that one of the first matches that you were exposed to as a player to make a mark in a national team was you played with Roy Dice's team, and the same Roy Dice you almost replaced as a coach in Nepal. How was that?
No, Roy is like, is still one of the best batters Sri Lanka ever produced, and we love to watch him batting as youngsters. Even few months ago, I was watching an old video of Roy Dice batting in Australia in one of the Benson and Hedges series. Like, he's one of the most talented and technically correct batters. I knew that he was he was there for 9 years with Nepal team, and before I applied the job also, I actually spoke to him, and he gave me a good feedback about Nepal cricket, and I think he has done a fantastic job. Like, when you see all these young talented players that I experienced with Nepal, like, they all came through him. No wonder, like, the techniques have so sound when a person like Roy coaches them.
When you came to Nepal, one of my first conversations with you, you said that the talent is there. What I see is a lack of confidence and a lack of mental application. I feel that players are mentally not that strong. During your stay, you actually changed that.
Yeah, my coaching strength was always like getting the best out of a player. Sometimes when we come from the full member world, we always expect very high. But the reality is, when you come to associate cricket, like, you need to understand what you have in associate cricket. And then when you see your team, it's not about like, you're going to select from 200, 300 players, top players, or they're playing year-round cricket and easy to pick up from their numbers or their performance in the domestic cricket. You have to look for the player and say, okay, this player can perform at the highest level, and how you're going to get the best out of him. In those do or die tournaments where associate cricket always play division cricket from ICC, you lose one tournament, you are gone for 2 years backwards. Different world. And I think the little success that I had with all these three teams, mainly because I think I was able to read the individuals and get their performance. Even though when you talk about Nepal, everyone is talented there. It's just that they haven't played enough cricket. But my job was to get their performance out. So yeah, it was different from Canada, but I enjoyed every moment.
When we talk about Nepal cricket, was there any player that really surprised you? You thought that, okay, he's not going to do this much, and he outperformed your expectations.
Like, so when I came for first time, Rumesh Ratnagar came to help me, because I didn't know anyone in Nepal, and I just walked in, and we had few net sessions, and I was not sure what's the batting order, and how. Because I didn't even seen the team before. Like, Nepal wasn't in that in the same setup with Canada, so I haven't even seen them in the opposition. So I think the Paras may be the guy who most surprised me. When he batted the nets, he doesn't look that the guy who's going to perform in the game. But I think he even when he talks about his technique, he is a unique technique he has. Like, he's not a orthodox where he's bat lift to certain things. He has his own way of doing it. But Rumesh was the one, trying to filled with all the things with like, these are the top batters, these are the best bowlers you have. So I was trying to put the team together. When you really went to when you start playing games, like you really see Paras is a different level. I think that he is maybe the most mentally stable guy, sharp guy. I would say he's a performer even up to today. I think he's still the most consistent batter Nepal have. So that's one of the guys who have really surprised me in basically whole associate cricket, because even him as a leader, I rate him still as best associate captain, because I don't think that knowledge that I don't know where he get from that, to be honest, but he's very sharp on doing things. So Nepal is lucky to have a guy like him. And when you go back to the other players, like Gyanendra is maybe the best batter if you ask me, and technically sound. And some other guys who have surprised me, maybe Subhash Kakrel. He's also an unorthodox batter. He has his own way of playing. He may be one of the reasons that we got into the World Cup, T20 World Cup, and he scored runs in the World Cup also. When you see him in the nets, you don't feel that he's the guy who's going to do the job for you. They all had their own ways of doing it, and I rate him very high.
The other player I might mention here is Sharad, who we knew as, okay, he's technically good, but you transformed him into a finisher. Couple of matches, brilliant performance from him, and we get to the 2014 World Cup.
Sharad was like, of course, he like when we start practicing, he was basically opposite. He was so technique was so sound, and he looks he's the best batsman that you have. The experience that I have with him is like he's very consistent when it comes to 50-over cricket. But I actually was thinking of keeping him out of T20 one time. So for the first T20 tournament that I was involved with Nepal, he was in the squad, but we didn't play him regularly. He played out of 5 games. I think he played only 2 games in one series. And I told him after the tournament, like, why don't you stick into the 50-over cricket? If you want to change, you're going to you might upset your batting style. But we want you in the 50-over. And I told him that I might not select you for the T20. So he was almost crying, and he said, like, coach, what I need to do to come into the T20. So we had a good chat. I said, like, we need, for you to score more boundaries, ability to score, sixes. And he really transformed. He really worked very, very hard. And after a few months, I see him different player, and the role that we had, like, he didn't have a place at the top of the order. He was batting in the middle, and he fit onto that role perfectly. And he started, like, finishing games. And the best game, I think, the way that he came out from old batting style to the new batting style was, I still remember the day, like, against Kenya in Dubai. Kenya got 170 plus runs, and we were under pressure. We have never scored that many runs in a T20. But the plan, we went through nicely planned. Paras and Gyanendra batted for a longer time and kept wickets in hand. And the last over came for 18 runs in for us to win. And Sharad was on the strike. We did all these match scenarios, but we have done, at practices, we have done well. So we had the hope, but it was a big ask for 18 runs in the last over, especially against an experienced side. And Sharad just scored 3 sixes in first 3 balls against Kenya's best bowler. I think from that day, I think Sharad got into that habits where he comes and hits boundaries and sixes, big sixes all the time, and won many games for us. So it's a transformation. Sharad was always a talented player. It's just that he was able to adjust into the next level in the shorter version. So very happy for him.
Then you go to 2014 World Cup and you beat Afghanistan.
Yeah, that was the day. I mean, there's so many little stories that I can always share. Like, when we went to Dubai before the World Cup, so we were training all the 4 teams, all the 6 teams basically. Sorry, all the 6 teams who associate countries who got selected for that World Cup. They were training in Dubai, and when we were training one day, one of the ICC high performance guys, they came to me and asked, like, how is your team? Like, can they like it's a live. All the games are going to be live telecast, and will they survive against these big names? I just told him like, yeah, not to worry, I have full confidence. And then so the Bangladesh and Afghanistan was in our group, and they wanted one of the associates to go through to the next level, and not the Bangladesh. And so they were always thinking Afghanistan was the team. So they were worried that if we go and lose badly to Bangladesh, we are going to block the Afghanistan chances.
Oh.
So I told them like, not to worry, you'll be surprised how this team is going to perform, and we all going to do our best to get into the next round. That's the hope for the Nepal team. Yeah, when we went to the tournament and Bangladesh beat Afghanistan badly, that's how the Bangladesh got their net run rate set up. And we went and played a decent games against Bangladesh and beat Afghanistan and Hong Kong. So basically, we were out from the net run rate because Afghanistan gave a good game to Bangladesh. So yeah, we proved a lot of different ways. And in my cricketing coaching time period with Nepal, we had few opportunities to beat Afghanistan, but we couldn't. We were so close in a couple of games. One in Singapore, I can remember we had a good opportunity to beat Afghanistan, but we couldn't finish. But I think in the highest level that we played against Afghanistan, that stage, I think guys really did everything right, and I think it's a great performance, beating Afghanistan in a World Cup. That's one of the highest points, I think, for Nepal cricket.
Absolutely. This is definitely highest points for Nepal cricket. In my cricket watching career, that's one of the best days we've ever had, when we qualified for World T20 and then go on to beat Afghanistan, which by then a lot of people thought was not possible for Nepal. So it was definitely good. And another interesting point, now that you mentioned Paras Khadka's leadership, and during World T20 in 2014, Paras was called the favorite captain of all the people, especially media. Nepal was receiving very good reviews in local and international media. How did you contribute to that, making him talk so eloquently? And
I always love that character where he we as an associate country, where there's always hurdles for your training setup, to everything that we do. We are way behind from a top team, the full member country. But Paras, one of the guys who stand above everything, all these little issues was never issues for him. He stood up, above everything, and his focus was to perform. And he's not the guy who always worried about, some are not performing, some players are not performing, or this is not happening. He just goes and he makes sure that things happens properly. And he when the team needs runs, he gets the runs. When the team needs wickets, he comes and gets 1 or 2 overs, he gets the important wicket for the team. And if you remember against Afghanistan in 2014 World Cup, there was a couple of catches he took. Actually, some other guys are too close to the ball, but he actually ran to the ball and he made sure that those catches were taken. So he led by example, he was always in front. The road that Nepal has come, I think he has a lot to do with it. And any country would love to have that caliber leader.
After Nepal's stint, which didn't go very pleasant, of course, but we'll not talk about that, then you move on to coaching USA. How do you find the players' base and the difference in the mentality, setup?
When I left Nepal, I was kind of exhausted, and I thought that I'm going to have a decent break. I miss my family a lot, staying away from them for a long period. And when I heard that about USA, and when they asked me to apply for the job, I thought it's not bad, because it's just across the border. I'm not going to miss my family that much. I can stay close to them. So that was a good opportunity for me. And so once I took the team, it was totally different, coming back to very similar Canadian setup, where lots of different thinking. Even the cricket community has different ideas. Within the team, there was different ways of playing. But one thing is, the playing group had the respect for me, because that they have met me in the opposition team many times and seen what Nepal has done in the last few years. So they had the respect for me, and they started listening to me in certain things. I knew that I need a real big change for USA cricket to move forward. But I couldn't do it right away because I don't, without a reason, I cannot just come and take everything out and put something new. So I was trying to see, I was trying to gel with the system and build that system. And when I took the job, in 3 months' time, we had the Division 4 in USA, and USA won that tournament. But I was not that happy how we performed still. I know that when we go into the highest level, next level, the way that we are playing is not the best, for us to move forward. So the next Division 3 was in Uganda, and we went with the same setup, and we got hammered in that tournament. We only won I think 1 or 2 games, didn't do well at all, and got exposed. So that was my turning point where I got the opportunity to clean up a few things and put a U-turn. So basically, we set up some rules in the team. We set up some basic structure, and we build up a culture, like team first culture, and whether we're going to lose or not, this is how the team is moving. And if anybody doesn't like that system, we ask them not to be part of it. People who like it can be part of it, even for the best of the best players, biggest names that we had in the country, in US. We told the same to everybody. I don't think anyone thought of that we are going to go that way, but that actually really helped change the culture. And then from there we build up the next Division 3. We came very strong in Oman. We finished second and went to the Division 2, and then we went to Namibia after that year. We did really well to get ODI status. For me, it's fantastic experience because it just USA is a team that where we build up from the scratch. Nepal was different. Nepal, the team was there, it's just that we need a few tweaks. USA was a team where we basically build up from nothing.
This is a difficult question to ask. Might be very difficult for you to answer. You have had coaching stint for 3 countries now, Canada, Nepal, and USA. What was the most fulfilling one?
I would still say that Nepal may be my most fulfilling mainly because of the players unit that we had there in Nepal. But I won't shy away from Canada and USA also, because it's different challenges, and USA, the work that we did in USA is totally out of the box. I didn't have that experience, basically, to be honest. A lot of new things we started doing, and we took a lot of risk because when we knew that we cannot move the same way, we took a lot of risk to for auditions and did changes. A lot of credit for that time administration. Again, they backed me for all these gambles that we took. But as a group of players and as a team, my heart is going to be with Nepal.
You were loved in Nepal like anything. I've seen people protesting when your tenure as a coach was not renewed. There were people who would say, "Why is Pubudu not there?" There were people complaining, just general people on the streets. That's amazing to see for a coach in any country.
Yeah, Nepal. The fans were always behind me and supporting throughout. The Nepal experience was a bit different. I think, my always goal, I always even say now, Nepal may be the next full member country in line. Nepal is very similar to Afghanistan, where the whole country follows the game and support cricket, and all the youngsters coming through in the system, they know the game. It's just that there's so much of talent in the country. I would really wanted to see that one day, Nepal, in Test cricket, or as a full member nation, which is very, very capable of. I felt that I didn't finish the full job, but things happen, and I think whatever the contribution that I can give to Nepal, I'm happy. How things went well, and I'm very grateful to the cricket fans. Always, even now, even when I was there, and even now, they're very supportive of me.
Absolutely. You talked about Nepal having talent. There's another interesting story about you spotting Sandeep Lamminjhane when he was very young, and you just fast-tracked him.
Yeah, Sandeep was a accidental find, and I think many people knows the story that I saw him in Chitwan while I was driving to Bhairava for Basant Redmay's wedding, and like I said, just an accident, and it happened. It was not that I was going to look for players. There's a lot of credit for these individuals. When you take Sandeep, also I will say Paras category, where mentally having talent is one thing, and ability to go and stay in a dressing room like Delhi Devils or in Big Bash with all these top players in the world and performing, and when it comes to, especially when it comes to this Big Bash, and then like when you in the level of cricket is totally different. When you're on the field, the balls are coming like bullets. You need to adjust, you need to take those catches. Like that environment is totally different environment. So for a youngster like Sandeep, just go from no background, no school cricket background, not many international games behind him, and just that his talent with his bowling and handling that is a lot of credit for him. Like that's why I'm always saying that Nepal has those things. Like if you go to Sri Lanka, and if you want to build up a young leg spinner like Sandeep, like there's a structure. Like when you're 10 years, when you're 9-10 years old, you've been picked up proper system, and you have proper coaches, you have age group tournaments, so you slowly developing into the next level. Without that, you're not going to reach the national team directly. But Sandeep has skipped all these things and gone and played the highest level. So a lot of credit for him to handle that setup. When you talk about the bowling part, I know that he's going to perform. I know that he has the ability to bowl his googly, bowl his proper leg spin to the best of the best batters. But when to bowl what, handle those situations, handle those pressure, traveling, and all this stuff, like a lot of credit for him. And I strongly believe that there's many more players like that in Nepal, and I saw one couple of players even this year when I went for EPL 10 days that I stayed there. The surprise, a few youngsters surprised me. I was looking forward for that EPL, but unfortunately it didn't happen. Otherwise we would have introduced a couple of more youngsters into that tournament.
How beautiful that would have been. When you talk of a lot of credit for Sandeep Lamichhane, I think cricket world should also thank you partly for discovering this talent who is making waves all around the world now. Thank you so much for talking to Cow Corner. It's been a pleasure, like it always was talking to you. Hopefully we'll talk again in future as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, and always pleasure to talk to you. I can remember the beginning of Nepal. My time in Nepal, like you're always helpful. So thank you for having me in your program.